Clutch Sports Talk. Let's go. Good morning, everyone. It's me, your boy Ryan Flowers, aka Clutch Sports Talk. Hey, I have another edition of NFL Sunday Morning. It's week 10. We are halfway through the season. Basically, we got lots to unpack as usual. Like I always say, man, hey, OBJ to the Rams. We already know that news already, but guess what? Robert Woods is down, out for the season, torn ACL. OBJ will step into the lineup, is active today. How will he fit in the LA Rams offense? I'll give you my thoughts on that. Also, Russell Wilson is back. Also, Aaron Rodgers is back. So big matchup in the NFC today in Green Bay. It's going to be frigid cold. How will Russell Wilson's finger hold up to the cold that's going to be occurring in Green Bay? I'll let you know what's going on with that game. And also Aaron Rodgers is back. What does it mean for the Packers? They came off of a tough loss, I would say, last week with their backup quarterback, Jordan Love. But hey, the captain is back. John Wick himself, aka Aaron Rodgers, is back in the lineup today. Also, midseason awards. I got lots to talk about that. Some of you might agree, some of you might not agree, but there are two Cowboys in there. Can you guess what two Cowboys are in the midseason awards? And also, Week 10 power rankings. Hey, it's a mix-up. Some teams moved up, some teams moved down. So you want to stick around for that. And finally, my clutch picks of the week. I went 2-2 last week, but I'm looking to go undefeated today, and you're going to see how I'm going to do that. So without further ado, sit back and relax and enjoy. This is NFL Sunday Morning with me, Ryan Flowers. Let's go. Hey, welcome in, everyone. Hope you guys are doing well. Hey, it's NFL Sunday Morning. Get you guys ready. We are about an hour away from all the first morning kickoffs today, so hope you're locked in. You're in the right place right now. If you're tired of watching the same shows on ESPN, NFL Network, or wherever, hey, this is a great alternative right here. I'm not pumping my own horn or blowing whatever the hell you want to call it, but hey, you're going to enjoy what you guys see. So, hey, if you're in the room right now, make sure you guys drop a comment. Let me know what's up. If you got some questions, comments, or concerns, you can voice that in the comment section below. Also, share and like this content, man. The more people you get this to, the better for me, the better it is for everyone. We can really get the comment section popping and get it busting in here, and it's going to be a great time while we're here for the next 20 to 30 minutes. Also, if you haven't subscribed to my YouTube channel, make sure you do so now. Make sure it'll be one of the best decisions you've done in quite some time. And also, if you're not on Twitch, make sure you download the app and subscribe to me at Clutch Sports Talk Live. I'm adding my streaming now to the Twitch platform. So very new and exciting stuff going on for me here in the Clutch Sports Talk world. But absolutely, I am so happy to be here to give you guys this content. I hope you guys enjoy it. So, hey, without further ado, man, let's jump straight into it. So we know that last week, or was it this week? I believe this week, excuse me. OBJ cut from the Browns, sat out a little bit. He decided to join the Rams to chase the trophy, right? So that's what it looks like. They got Von Miller now. They traded for him. Now you got OBJ. LA is a big market for him. When he first went there, I kind of was like, well, what's going to happen there? Obviously Cooper Kupp is killing the game, if not one of the best receivers, if not the best receiver right now in the National Football League. Robert Woods, a very solid number 2 receiver, has been there for quite some time now, coming back home. He's a former Trojan after being drafted by the Bills. And you know what? The Rams offense has always been pretty formidable, whether it was with Jared Goff and even now with Matthew Stafford. So now you go ahead and you pick up OBJ. We don't know what kind of OBJ we're going to get. Most people believe that he will bounce back in LA. And there's reason to believe so. Obviously, his best years were in a big time market with a decent quarterback. He played with Eli Manning. For whatever it's worth, Eli Manning, was he exciting to watch? No, but he is arguably very, very great quarterback. Probably a Hall of Famer, right? With the 2 rings that he won in New York with the Giants. So he gets shipped off to purgatory, and I'm sorry for you Cleveland fans out there, but yes, Cleveland is football purgatory. It's a very small market media, not much for OBJ to really get his brand off and running with, and he just sat there. Now, to his credit, I will give him some props. From the outside looking in, it did not seem like he was that of a bad teammate or even like a real distraction. The only big distraction that he was to the team was to Baker Mayfield, and I don't even know if it was because he was getting in his face or whatever, and a lot of things that we don't know about. But the fact of the matter, he's a primetime diva-esque type receiver. And then you have a young quarterback in Baker Mayfield who's just trying to make his mark on the league. And obviously the drama started really when he wasn't getting the touches, right? When Baker Mayfield finally took over the reins in Cleveland, wasn't getting the touches. OBJ goes out. Guess what? Cleveland Browns have a great season. Baker Mayfield is looking like a legit all-pro type player. And we're all thinking, well, is OBJ the problem? Or, and Cleveland, their media, their players, everyone in that organization, they're trying to downplay the situation with OBJ not being a distraction. But obviously it's clear that he was some type of a distraction in that organization, particularly with the quarterback, right? Because now I don't think this is a coincidence. So last week, they let go OBJ, they go on the road, and they thrashed the Cincinnati Bengals, a team that, coming off of a loss to the Jets, prior to that, they had some really solid wins, right? They thrashed them. Coincidentally, who's not on the lineup? Who's not on the team anymore? OBJ. Now, I'm not throwing this out there for a hot take because that's not the type of guy I am. I'm just saying, I know what I saw on the field. Baker Mayfield looked like the Baker Mayfield of last season in the back half, right? And the only difference was OBJ was not there. So we'll see today when they play New England on the road, another tough road game in New England where their defense is going to be ready to go. We'll see how Baker Mayfield operates today again without OBJ. Now he should feel a lot more comfortable. They can really rely on the run game. They don't have to force anything to OBJ. What I tell a lot of people too, and this is part of the reason why the OBJ experiment here in LA might not work out immediately, maybe down in the end, or he might give them a big player here or there. Look, quarterbacks and receivers, they have to develop a relationship. And that's part of the reason why it did not work in Cleveland. There was not a relationship built. There was no foundation there between Baker Mayfield and OBJ. And you can see that on the field. Sometimes when OBJ was wide open, Baker Mayfield elected to go somewhere else. When OBJ wasn't open, he would try to fit it to him and OBJ would drop the ball. So either way, there's a give and take. This is why I think it's going to be a little bit challenging when you come into a new offense, a new system, a new city, a new quarterback you've never played with before, and you're going to have to learn about the timing. It's all about timing. And if you don't have timing with your receivers and the quarterbacks, you don't know when a guy's going to break. If you're Cooper Kupp and Matthew Stafford obviously had an offseason together, right? And you can see, when Cooper Rush is getting open, Matt Stafford is throwing on time. We're going to see today because, listen, I believe Cooper Rush gets about 11 to 13 targets a game. Robert Woods was about 8 targets. Where are those 8 targets going to go? It has to go to OBJ, or will Van Jefferson step up? Who knows? But OBJ will be in there, and he probably will have some packages for him. Because, look, Sean McVay is a great offensive mind. There's no way in hell he's not going to try to game plan OBJ into the offense immediately. Because at the end of the day, this is one thing we know. He's electric when he has the football. You get him with the football, he's very good after the catch. So is he the same guy? I don't know. I'm part of the majority that thinks he's probably past his prime a little bit, but we'll see coming into a new season, a new team, a new city, and he wants to be in LA. He wants to be in LA. His best homies are there. LBJ is there, LeBron James. He has a house in Malibu. He wants to be in a big market. He wants to develop his brand and keep it going, where that's something you probably couldn't have done in Cleveland. And no offense to Cleveland, probably a great town. I never visited there before, but listen, it's not LA, it's not New York. So how will he fit? I think he fits what LA is as a city, because I'm an Angelino. It's big, it's vibrant, it's diverse, it's gaudy, it's glitzy, it's glamorous. And that's what OBJ is, and that's what the Rams are doing. That's what they're building upon. They're saying, forget draft picks. We don't care about draft picks. I think their last top draft pick was Jared Goff. Look what happened with that. They don't believe in that. They're pushing everything all in at this moment because this is what they want to do. And, I think eventually he will probably, if he can get the reps in, if he can stay patient and learn the offense, I think this could work. Now, does it make them Super Bowl favorites? I don't think so yet, because at the end of the day, I think really strong defensive teams, we'll be able to kind of slow them down. We saw what the Tennessee Titans were able to do. Now, minus OBJ wasn't there, but strong defensive teams, I always will take them over strong offensive teams, because listen, at the end of the day, in a playoff game, Super Bowl, you start to get tight. Defenses are probably playing a little bit more relaxed and loose, and those are my reasons why. But I think, will it fit? Um, before seeing him play, I'm gonna say yes, but not today. And I could be wrong. But we'll just have to wait and see what happens with OBJ as he dons the LA Rams jersey and is active today for the Rams, or excuse me, for the tomorrow night, Monday Night Football. So anyway, moving on, staying in the NFC, we got good news for you Seattle Seahawks fans. Russell Wilson is back ahead of schedule from what I understand. So he had I believe it was like a dislocated finger in his throwing hand. He got the pins removed. Listen, I love Russell Wilson. I love him. I think he's one of the top 3 or 4 quarterbacks in the National Football League. Much respect to him and his craft and what he does. He's definitely the MVP of that team. I'm excited to see him come back and play. He plays a position like the way it should be, especially from a leadership standpoint. So nothing negative about Russell Wilson. The only thing I will say is that he might have caught a break in a weird way getting this injury, because we've noticed in the past he starts hot, something happens, he tails off towards the end of the season. So now he had a couple weeks off. Seahawks are kind of like right in the middle. They're in the hunt. But maybe with him, they can kind of sneak their way into the playoff situation. But we'll see. And Bryson Carver from Carving Up Podcast joins the show. He's like, Russ has never won in Lambeau. Today is the day. We'll see. It's going to be tough. Listen, he's never won there. Now, if the temperature and the environment was favorable, I would say absolutely, I would agree with that. But it's going to be cold. And when you've had surgery on your finger, you're going into a stadium that's, but below freezing. I don't know if you guys saw the shots from Lambeau Field. They're shoveling snow from in and outside their stadium. So it's going to be tough. I think the run game is going to be a factor in this game for the most part, because there's so much snow on the ground. But listen, I won't put it past Russell Wilson. He is a gamer. And one thing I've known in the past with Pete Carroll's teams, their game travels. And what I mean by that is that they play really well on the road, especially when things are up against them. So unlike some teams, they leave their game at the tarmac on the airport. They don't travel very well. Seattle Seahawks, they may not have the stars, but listen, they got some really solid players, and DK Metcalf, Tyler Lockett, Russell Wilson's back. Listen, I'm not a fan of Jamal Adams. Really, I think he's an overpaid defensive player. I wouldn't have paid him the amount of money and traded for him what they did. Really, I don't think he adds that much value to them from a defensive standpoint. And their defense is still shite, if I would say, right? They're 30 or 31st in total defense. That's not good. Ken Norton Jr., great player, all-time player, especially for my Cowboys during those Super Bowl days in the 90s. But listen, he's not getting it done. And I know him and Pete Carroll, they go way back from those SC days when Ken Norton Jr. was the defensive coordinator there. But listen, it's not getting it done. And maybe they don't have the personnel. I don't know. But listen. And then also on the flip side, you got Aaron Rodgers coming back, who to me, I think he got off a little bit. A lot, considering he flat out lied to everybody. It is what it is. What can you do? The guy's back in the lineup. He's going to probably play phenomenal again. He's looking to take this team to a Super Bowl and possibly win a Super Bowl. So I think that's his mindset. Now, guys in that locker room, maybe they feel a certain type of way. But as I mentioned on a show I was on, Bryson Carver's Carving Up Podcast, make sure you guys check that out. Yeah, there might be some guys feeling some type of way in Green Bay, but if they win, it doesn't even matter at this point. Because here in this country and anywhere around the world, winning solves everything. You can be a jackass, a jerk, whatever. But if you win, it don't matter. And that's all it boils down to. This is a winning business. There's no feelings, emotions involved. You got to leave that out the door. And Aaron Rodgers, and the one positive Green Bay can take out of that last week's loss is that, at the end of the day, even with Jordan Love, they were still in that game. And Chiefs fans, you should kind of feel a little bit down on that. You only scored 13 points, if I'm not mistaken. The Packers defense played phenomenal. Jordan Love just couldn't move the ball. If he could throw decently enough, they probably win that game. So I don't know. We'll see. But Aaron Rodgers should return to the lineup. Look, he have some effects from COVID. I don't know what his conditions were. Did it hit him hard? Who knows? But the treatment that these guys get, I think he'll be ready to go. This is going to be a very exciting game because, again, It's two really, really great Hall of Fame type quarterbacks, two Super Bowl winning quarterbacks. And you don't want to miss out. I think that's a CBS game. So that means Tony Romo is going to be on that call. So it'll be fun. And see, Bryson says that's why Aaron has been in Green Bay as long as he has. His leadership skills are best at questionable, but he's one of the greatest talents. Yep. Yeah. Oh, absolutely. He's not a great leader. I think he doesn't really care to be a leader. He's just kind of like, well, you guys want to follow me, it's cool, but I'm not going to really go out there and try to like mentor guys. I'm not trying to get guys to run through brick walls for me. Now, for some people, they may like his type of leadership type of traits or characteristics, but from a traditional standpoint, he's not a rah guy. He's not going to give you really good motivational talks. He's kind of like a real snarky, really cocky kind of guy. And, and to me, it's kind of like, it is what it is. But I don't know, Aaron Rodgers. And I was telling a friend the other day, and some of you might get on me for this, but listen, as far as the position, the quarterback position, he's probably the greatest, one of the greatest of all time, man. I mean, yeah, he doesn't have the rings like Tom Brady, but if we're just strictly talking about playing the position, being a quarterback, we're not looking at stats, we're not looking at rings, anything of that nature. We're strictly looking at the quarterback and how he plays the position. I mean, he's arguably one of the greatest. He's way more athletic than Tom Brady, right? Let's just compare him to Tom Brady athletically, right? Tom Brady probably has the edge in leadership, absolutely. But he's mobile, he's deadly accurate, he has a cannon for an arm, he can read defenses just as good as anybody, if not just as good as Peyton Manning could have. So look, he's up there. He's up there. So if you want to debate that, that's fine. But I'm excluding any type of records, titles, anything of that nature, MVPs. Throw that all out the door, because a lot of that stuff it could be generated by what team you're on, who's your coach, what type of players you have around you. The MVP, that's voting, that's other people dictating who should get what. But I mean, look, Tom Brady overall, is he the GOAT? Yeah, because he's got the championships. He's got the championships. And so I will not dispute that at all. I will not dispute that. But as far as just playing the position overall, Aaron Rodgers is one of the best to do it. And another guy that people don't really talk about because he never won a Super Bowl, for you younger people, Dan Marino. I had the privilege of watching Dan Marino play as I was growing up. And this guy was throwing for 3,000 yards back in the late 80s, early 90s. And for some of you who don't understand, like that, well, people do that all the time, right? That's crazy back in those days. Guys weren't just randomly throwing 3,000 yards during Dan Marino's time. And he arguably could be the best of all time as just playing the quarterback position. He had a quick release. I mean, you want to talk about accuracy? He could drop a dime through a straw. Okay. I mean, this guy was amazing, but never won a ring. Why? He got to a Super Bowl, I believe, his rookie year, never made it back. Just the teams that the Miami Dolphins had around him, just they didn't have the teams. So Bryson says, the GOAT is Brady. The best is Rodgers. Well said, bro. Yeah. I mean, I don't disagree with that. I think that's a very fair statement. And that's okay. That's okay. You can still be the GOAT, but there may be guys that are just better than you at playing a particular position, right? Who's to say that Aaron Rodgers, if he's not in New England, he has those 7 titles, or whatever Brady's got, right? We don't know, right? We might well be, right? And maybe Tom Brady doesn't have the rings. So we don't know. I mean, that's all hearsay. But what I do know is when I watch Aaron Rodgers, even though I don't really care for him too much, you can't deny that dude's a bad dude. I mean, he can play football. So this is going to be a very, very, very good game today with Seattle. So I'm going to keep my eye on it. And maybe Bryson, maybe I might drop some money on Seattle, because my boy Bryson said his conviction. I can read it through his text. Let's put that text up here again. He said Russ has never won in Lambeau, but today is the day. I can feel his conviction through that. So hey, I might have to go and do that and maybe split some of the winnings with him if I win, if he's allowed to do that. So anyway, so listen. It's midseason, right? For the most part, you've probably seen a lot of midseason awards from different, other areas, other media platforms. But this is my midseason awards. I'm going to pull that graphic up here for you guys. And listen, it's pretty simple for me, man. It's pretty simple for me. MVP, Aaron Rodgers to me, man. I mean, I know people have some other, so Kyler Murray's in there. I get it. But He's hurt. He missed the game. I mean, so is Aaron Rodgers. He missed the game. But Arizona was still able to win without him. And they're probably going to have to win again today without Kyler Murray and DeAndre Hopkins in Arizona. So, but I still like Aaron Rodgers, man. Even though I don't really like the guy, I got to keep it real. I got to keep it a buck. I like Aaron Rodgers still as my MVP. There's some other guys, and this can change at the end of the year. And I'll probably have, like, right before they pick who probably is the MVP, but there's still a lot of football left to be played. People had Matthew Stafford, I read on something. I'm like, why? Get him out of there. This is a quarterback award. Let's just change it from most valuable award to the quarterback award, because honestly, I don't think there's really anybody else that's as valuable to a football team than a quarterback. So I like Aaron Rodgers as my most valuable player. Defensive player of the year, hands down, Myles Garrett. I mean, this guy is a monster ever since he's been in the league. Him and Aaron Donald and TJ Watt, these guys are the most disruptive types of players that you don't want to come across. And if you're a tackle or an offensive lineman, you got to block these guys. You're crapping bricks, because you don't want to see this guy. Offensive player of the year, and he maybe could be an MVP. Cooper Rush. I mean, the guy is tremendous. I believe he's leading the league in receiving yards. Him and Matthew Stafford have connected so much. I'm glad that he's been able to stay, for the most part, injury free. This guy is an unknown draft pick from, I believe, from Eastern Washington, if I'm not mistaken. The Rams did a great job on picking him up, in the draft. So listen, Cooper Rush is an amazing talent. And honestly, if I had a fantasy award, he'd probably be number one. From what I understand, he's killing the fantasy game there as well. Offensive Rookie of the Year, Jamar Chase. This one was interesting because I had a lot of people had Mac Jones. I get it. Mac Jones is probably having the most success out of the rookie quarterbacks, but Jamar Chase by far, 40-something receptions, over 800 yards as a rookie wide receiver, where we thought he wasn't even going to be legit. He was dropping everything in preseason, but him and Joe Burrow have come together, and they've kind of brought some vitality to the Cincinnati Bengals, right? I knew it. My boy Barrington Grant Jr., all even podcast, he says, man, MVP is Stafford. Get out of here. Get out of here with that. That's rhetoric. But listen, I'm still not a big fan of Matthew Stafford. I'm just going to keep it real, but maybe I'll talk about that here in just a second. Keep it moving. Defensive rookie here, my boy from Penn State, Micah Parsons. He's killing the game. I mean, he's so versatile. I think looking at it now, it looks like the Cowboys kind of, I wouldn't say lucked out, because it seems like they were probably going to take Patrick Surtain Jr., but the Denver Broncos ended up taking him. Now, it didn't work out last week because the Broncos destroyed the Cowboys, but Micah Parsons was probably the only highlight of the Dallas Cowboys game last week. But listen, he's so versatile. I haven't seen a linebacker with his amount of speed and leverage in quite some time, especially a young linebacker. Playing linebacker in the NFL is very hard, especially being a rookie, because there's so many things that you don't see in college that you will see in the NFL. And his ability to run and scrape and fill holes and fill gaps, and he can also rush the quarterback, which I think he will get better in the offseason. He got like one or two moves, if that. But he's probably going to develop a little bit more, and they're probably going to use him hopefully more in the rush game, especially now that Randy Gregory is down for quite some time, and we're still missing DeMarcus Lawrence. So we're going to see how that's going to work with Dallas. But definitely right now, defensive rookie of the year right now is Micah Parsons. All right. Moving on, comeback player of the year, it's got to be Dak Prescott, hands down. I call this from the jump. I was one of the Dak believers. I thought that this guy was going to have a phenomenal year, and he's coming. He came back looking really good to form. Maybe last week was a letdown, but hey, look, it's the National Football League. A lot of teams lost last week. A lot of good teams lost last week. Ask the Rams and Matthew Stafford how that felt, in his MVP contention there. It didn't work out for them. So, but still, the guy coming off of that ankle injury and then this whole shoulder thing, now he's got the calf muscle. But Dak Prescott, man, definitely comeback player of the year. It fills my heart to see this guy play. I love watching Dak Prescott play. Yep. Is he as gifted as a Mahomes or Rodgers or Kyler? No, he's not. But what I like about him, he's a hard worker. He loves his team. His team loves him. They're willing to go. They're willing to go through walls for him. And Barrington, man, he's going in. I hope you're not talking about that. He said he will throw another. I don't think so. I think today the Cowboys will right the ship, get it going. I think it'll be close. The Falcons are a formidable team. I had them finishing third in the NFC East, actually. Excuse me, NFC South. So they're a formidable team, but I think today they get it righted. I think last week was a very weird game from the outset. Excuse me. They just look out of sorts. And they get Michael Gallup back today. Some guys from the IR will come back as well on the defense. So we'll see. But Dak Prescott, to me, will definitely reign supreme today. You heard it here. You heard it here first. Dak Prescott will throw multiple touchdowns today. And I'm not even that guy. But see, Barrington Grattan Jr., see, if you got to watch this podcast, right? He pushes you. He pushes you. He knows how to push those buttons. And he's pushed the button today, especially when it comes. He knows how I feel about Dak Prescott. He knows. So that's why he's on here. And I love the guy, man. That's my boy. But he knows I'm very sensitive about Dak Prescott. And don't nobody talk about Dak Prescott. I wish I had the TO shades right now, and I would be crying, and I'd be like, hold on, let me get back on the screen here. If I was T, I'd be like, hold on, I don't have no sunshades, but let's just pretend I have a sunshades here. You know, that's my quarterback. You know, and Barrington Grant Jr., that's my quarterback. So that's where we're at. So don't talk about Dak Prescott, man. Like that's like family to me. So, but anyway, man, he got me thrown off all target anyway. But anyway, finishing up midseason awards, we got Coach of the Year, Cliff Kingsbury. I mean, this one was close to me because I thought Sean Payton has done a tremendous job in New Orleans, right? Because I didn't think that team would be where they're at. But now Jameis Winston's out. We're gonna really see now, and this could change, honestly, for me. But I went with Cliff Kingsbury because like Arizona is, I mean, they're looking good too. So it just is what it is. So this one can change, but the for the most part, the two that I'm not really like overconfident or like really set in is Coach of the Year and MVP. Because I feel like there are other guys in the MVP race that can probably step up there. Maybe Dak Prescott. I don't know. Definitely not Matthew Stafford, that's for sure, because they're going to lose another bad game in their division at some point. But Coach of the Year could have went to Sean Payton too, because I think he's doing a great job. And even Mike Vrabel down in Tennessee, now, especially now with Derrick Henry out for the year. So that one is still kind of floating around. I'm not quite sure yet. But these are my midseason awards. Take them, write them down, whatever you want to do. I'll leave it up there for a couple more seconds. But if you agree, let me know. If you think some people that maybe I left off or some guys that should have been in contention, let me know what you guys think. But this is what I got. So, that's where we're at. But yeah, don't. For those who know me, you don't talk about Dak Prescott. In all seriousness, but my boy Barry, I know it's all love because he's a Cowboys fan too. He just likes to rock the boat a little bit, but it's all good. It's all love. I appreciate him, man, getting in here anyway. But it is. But don't talk about Dak Prescott. Please don't talk about it, because I will hop on a plane and fly and meet you and confront you. Just kidding. I'm not going to do all that. But anyway. All right. So moving along. So we got midseason awards. We got week 10 going week 10 power rankings. Quite of a mix up here now. So not last week, I believe I had the Tennessee Titans at 6. They've elevated. They're at the number 1 spot right now. Why? That's a good win on the road against a top team, a Super Bowl contending team with the Rams. Now, Von Miller didn't play. We'll see if that's a big difference for them, for the Rams moving forward. But I got to give the Titans some love. I mean, look, the last couple of years, I like the Titans, man. Like outside of the Cowboys and the Cardinals, outside the Cowboys, the Titans and the Cardinals are two teams I kind of like low-key root for. Now, I don't own any merchandise of those teams, so I'm just putting it out there. I am Dallas Cowboys for life. So don't get it twisted. I don't want nobody spreading rumors about me saying, "Oh, well, he's a fit." No, I'm a ride or die Dallas Cowboys fan. But listen, I like what Tennessee does. I like their gritty. They play intelligent football. They're well balanced. They're like a well balanced breakfast, and I always compare them to this. I mean, or they're like a Toyota Camry. They may not be very glitzy, glamorous, but look, they get the job done. And their resale value is tremendous, right? So but listen, the Tennessee Titans, Derrick Henry's out. Old man Adrian Peterson gets in there and runs for a touchdown. Brian Tannehill picked apart the LA Rams defense last week. And Matthew Stafford played horrible against a defense. Honestly, is still missing a pass rush, right? If they can figure out how to generate more pressure on the quarterback, this team is going to be very scary. And I like them. And this is, I mean, look, it's week to week now. I'm not going to say they're the best team in football because you don't know. You just don't know anymore these days. And this is why this season is so great this year. There's a lot of parity. It's just week to week, and we're getting carving up. He said, you may be reaching a bit on Tennessee. He says, you can't say Stafford is an MVP. Can't say that. No, well, yeah, I can say that because here's the thing. I think it's a good win for them because obviously we think that the Rams anyway going into the season, say they didn't trade Jared Goff, they still would have been a top team anyway. To me, I don't see anything different from what Matthew Stafford is doing than what Jared Goff has done. So look, the Lions still suck. Matthew Stafford would have been there. They still would have sucked anyway. Now, I'm not saying he's trash, but I don't think he's an MVP candidate. That's all I'm saying. And that's a good win overall because listen, you're on the road. You're missing your best player, the leading rusher in the National Football League. You're on Sunday night. No one expects you to win. And if Matthew Stafford is this MVP caliber type player, why did he get outplayed by Ryan Tannehill? I'm just saying. So those are my points. That's why I think the Titans have jumped up and they've had wins. They're undefeated against playoff teams this year. They're 6-0 against playoff teams from last year. So if they're not number one, I mean, they're one of those teams you do not want to see in the playoffs. You don't, because of the style of football that they play. So that's why for me, I think that they're number one. But it's a great win. It's a great win for them, and it can change. They can lose whenever. I forgot who they're playing today. They can lose and maybe fall out of the rankings. I don't know, but for them to move up, I think to give them some props because I think a lot of people sleep on them, and that's why I wanted to kind of show them some love. But anyway, moving on, Tampa Bay Buccaneers, they're number 2. They can easily be number 1, but it is what it is. So we'll have to wait and see with them. They got the Washington Redskins today. I think they should cover. But on paper, they're one of the best teams in the National Football League. Their defense is pretty good. So we're going to have to go there. Arizona Cardinals, I got them moving back up off of that win they had last week on the road in a divisional game. I get it. The Niners are not great. I understand that. But look, divisional games are tough. And then you don't have your best quarterback. Colt McCoy beat the 49ers, right? Okay. You don't have your quarterback, and then DeAndre Hopkins doesn't play. Tough win on the. So I know the victory against the Niners, excuse me, it doesn't hold a lot of weight, but you have to. It's hard, dude. People don't understand how hard it is to win a National Football League, regardless if you're playing an 0-10 team versus a 10-0 team. And what that win shows me is that they're able to just kind of not sit and wallow and be like, oh, woe is us. We don't have Kyler. We don't have DeAndre. We can still go out and win a football game, right? That's what the Cowboys proved to us last week or the week before against the Vikings. Those things hold a lot of weight in stock for me because it shows toughness, it shows determination, it shows greediness. Those are the types of things you need in order to win a Super Bowl. It's never going to be easy. You're not going to run through everybody. That just doesn't happen. You're going to face adversity, and games like that, that's why I have them back at number 3 after falling off. I'm going to drink some water for a second here. Number 4, I got Aaron Rodgers in Green Bay. Listen, they can easily be 1 or 2 at this point, and we'll see today how that goes. Aaron Rodgers, that team is ready to go. That team is ready to, offensively. Even Devontae Adams is just a freak of nature. I remember watching him when he was at Fresno State, and even then I didn't think he was going to blow up to be what he is now. But I was like, that's a good player, and so Aaron, that defense played really good, even in a loss last week. I think that was a very good game for them overall. They held the Chiefs, even though the Chiefs are struggling, but to only 13 points at home. And Jordan Love really didn't give you much from the quarterback position. That's actually, it shows a lot. It shows a lot. Now, I'm still not a fan of the head coach. I'm not sure because I don't think he called a great game either. In all fairness to Jordan Love, I think there were some things that they did not do that they probably could have done that would have helped Jordan Love. Jordan Love is better outside the pocket. They really didn't move the pocket for him. I don't think he's a very, and I get it. It's his first game. It's an Arrowhead. That's a tough environment. Your mom is literally somewhere on like and one of the flagpoles up there. So it is what it is. So I still like the Green Bay Packers. But like I said, this list can change. We got All Even Podcast says it's so wild that the top six teams or five of them are in the NFC. Reminds me of the Western. Yeah, exactly. Because but this is what's so great about this season is that, yes, the NFC, we don't know, man. It's week to week. And a lot of people this week, I was listening to the radio and some of these shows this morning. They're like, "Oh, there's problems in Dallas." It's like, well, there's problems. If you take that notion, there's problems with a lot of these teams, man. Listen, the Rams lost last week, right? I mean, Green Bay lost last week. Okay. Um, the Saints lost last week. Buffalo lost last week. The freaking Ravens lost to the 1-something Dolphins on Thursday night. So I don't want to hear this. It's like you can't be so set. Just because you saw a team do one thing on 1 week 5 weeks ago, that's not who they are. The NFL to me is almost like a week to week because things change on a week to week basis. Honestly, for those of you who watch fighting or boxing or even MMA, sometimes these games are about the matchups. Now, maybe Tennessee matched up well against the Rams, right? But maybe they wouldn't match up well against Tampa. You don't know, So maybe for them, the Rams are just a bad matchup, and rightfully so. The Titans had gotten their offensive line back healthy. Taylor Lewan returned back to the lineup. Right now, they're missing Derrick Henry, but that's fine. Their schemes were better than the Rams defense. And honestly, to me, the Achilles heel on the Rams is the defense at this point, maybe. And it could be the offense because Sean McVay has shown an inability to adapt during the games. And I think that's part of his problem. They're good when they're up, when they can get up on you, right? But when you start to apply pressure, you look at all their losses this year. They're like blowout losses. So think about that when you think about him being an MVP, Matthew Stafford, and then being one of the top teams in the NFL. When you can slow them down and get up on them, you can slow them down. But like again, look what happened to Dallas last week. They got destroyed. They couldn't do anything. Dak did not play a good game. The offensive receivers dropping balls. CeeDee Lamb was targeted 13 times, only had 2 receptions. Right? So what's up with that? So anyway, coming at number 5, we got the LA Rams. Talked about them enough. Cowboys fell to number 6. I had to move them out of the top 10. I'm not going to be this Cowboys fan that's a homer. I'm going to keep it real. Like, there were some concerns for me. Obviously, the offensive line, Terrence Steele, who had been at right tackle, has done a tremendous job. He moved to left tackle. And for those who don't know, that's very difficult. That's very difficult, okay? You can't just say, oh, I'm going to go to right tackle to left tackle. This is not Pop Warner football. It's the National Football League. It feels a different way. You're using a little bit different of your motor skills. So, I think they'll get it right today, right? And let's just be real. The Denver Bronco defense is not bad. They generate a good pass rush. So, who knows? But I still like where they're at. I think that offense, once they get going, if they can get going early, the Cowboys are one of the most unstoppable teams in the National Football League. Okay. So we'll leave it at that. The Saints are at number 7. Honestly, the 7 through 10 is kind of a mix up. I mean, the Saints lost a close game to Atlanta Falcons at home. But their quarterback, they may play them well. They might play themselves out of the top 10 just because they don't have the quarterback situation. Right. I mean, Trevor Siemian is not going to be the answer there. Taysom Hill is not going to be the answer there. But I don't know. And then I got the Chargers. To me, the Chargers, I like the quarterback, but to me, they still give me the same vibe that they're still the Chargers. And what I mean by that, they're gonna lose games that they probably should win. And that's what they're going to be in a lot of games. They don't really get blown out often. I mean, the only big blowout they had this year was the Baltimore Ravens game. But I feel like they lose. They almost lost to the Eagles last week, right? And they got the Vikings, which will be a tough matchup for them today in Inglewood. So we'll see. Buffalo Bills, I mean, they got 2 really bad losses. I mean, you lose week 1 to the Pittsburgh Steelers, who are 5-3 remarkably. I don't know how that's happened. And then you lose to the Jacksonville Jaguars. Everyone loved Josh Allen. Everyone's like just swinging from this guy. And just swinging. Oh, he's this, he's that. To me, Josh Allen is like, he's good. He doesn't suck, but he's good. But they're limited. That team's limited offensively. Well, they got Stephon Diggs. Okay, that's great. when you get in the playoffs, there's going to be some top defenses. They're going to be able to slow him down or take him away. What else do you have there? Cole Beasley? Sorry, not it. You don't have a running game. Your best running back is your quarterback, and that's, unless you're Lamar Jackson, that's not a very good recipe for success. And then finally, the Baltimore Ravens. Honestly, they probably should have fell out, but I didn't really have anybody else in there to put in there. I thought about the Colts, but I don't know. Carson Wentz still scares me. But tough loss against the Miami Dolphins. Again, this team is heavily reliant on Lamar Jackson. They will go as far as he will go. I don't think he had a terrible game, but they just could not move the ball against the Dolphins defense we thought we were gonna get going into the season. So that's the top 10. Like it or love it, it is what it is. But I mean, I feel like I've given really, really solid points on as to reason why I have certain teams where. And again, this could change. This can change. It's week to week. And like my boy Barry Grant says, he says every team in the top 10 has issues, and that's what makes it interesting. Exactly. This year, there's no team that you're like, you know what? They're ahead above everybody. It's mixed up even between the AFC and the NFC, right? Like, even you look at the NFC teams, the top 5-6 teams there, they all have a case to be the top team, and they all have a case to be the bottom team in that top 5 or 6. To me, the AFC is a little bit more clear. I think Tennessee is the class of the AFC. I mean, they've beaten the Rams, they've beaten Buffalo. I mean, they've beaten the Ravens, they've beaten Buffalo. They've beaten the Chiefs, who are not having, they're not even in the top 10, but they're a Super Bowl runner-up. So they're the top. They've beaten Indianapolis, another team that's fighting to get into the playoffs there. So, they lost to the Jets, which was a bad loss, right? But they've bounced back by beating these other teams. Like I said, they're undefeated against playoff teams from last year. That means a lot. That means you're playing top teams. You're playing them and you're beating them and you're competitive. So I like that. All right, man. Before I get out of here, I like to give my picks of the week. Let me get myself back on camera for this one. So 2-2 last week. I was close to being 3-1. That's how it goes when you bet. This is what it is. But listen, before I get out of here, I got to give you my picks of the week. I got for week 10 clutch picks of the week. A couple family members will be happy with me today, especially ones that are Raiders and Minnesota Vikings fans. I like the Raiders to win tonight at home. Every time I bet the Raiders in a primetime game in a big matchup, they've come through. Now, they didn't come through last week against the against the Giants, but I think tonight, and just stadium down there, for me, it's going to be electric. The Chiefs are not playing that well. Their defense isn't that great. The Raiders defense isn't that great either, but they can score. Darren Waller is healthy. For those you don't know, the Chiefs are not that good against opposing tight ends. So Darren Waller should have a good game today. So I like the Raiders straight up to win against the Kansas City Chiefs tonight on Sunday Night Football. I like the Minnesota Vikings to another underdog team to win against the Chargers. So I have another cousin who's a Vikings fan. He will be in attendance for that game. Hope he's watching today. The Vikings should win that game. They've lost a lot of close games, and I think the Chargers are not really good at winning close games. So I like the Vikings in this matchup today. And I also like the Tampa Bay Buccaneers to cover -10. This is the rematch from the playoff, I believe the divisional game last year. Taylor Heinicke had a great game, but I think the Washington football team, they're not good. That defense isn't as good as we thought they were going to be. So I like the Tampa Bay Buccaneers to cover at -10. And finally, I got the under in the New England Patriots and the Cleveland Browns game. I know Baker Mayfield had a tremendous game last week, but something about playing in Foxborough, that defense is still very, very formidable. Bill Belichick will throw some different wrinkles against Baker Mayfield, and I think that score, the overall total, will be under 45. So that's where I'm at. I'll leave that up there for a couple more seconds, but listen. I'm 13-11 overall. I'm still over 500. I'm trying to go undefeated today, man. I'm trying to get to 17-11. So hopefully I can get that and it works out for me today. But we'll see. That's why it's betting. It's called betting. So, wow, that's it. We're 45 minutes basically. We're about 15 minutes away from the first kickoff. So that's my show. That's all I got. Hey, make sure you guys catch up live with me tomorrow on my Clutch Sports Talk Live episode. I'm going to probably recap some of the actions and activities that happened today in week 10. Also got to talk about some NBA stuff. The Lakers, man, what's going on with them? We got lots to unpack with that. So, but anyway, hope you guys enjoy week 10. It's here. Without further ado, man, hey, make sure get your drink on, drink responsibly, and have a good time. But anyway, I'm out of here. This is Clutch Sports Talk, NFL Sunday morning with me, Ryan Flowers. Never settle till the work is done. We'll see you guys. Have a good morning.